The call came at 3:47 a.m. Unknown number. My thumb hovered over the decline button. Spam callers had gotten aggressive lately. Rue calls at all hours. Scammers pretending to be the IRS. That sort of thing. I almost didn't answer. Almost. Mr. Vance, this is Cedar Memorial Hospital. Your wife is in labor. There have been complications. You need to come immediately. I sat up in my empty apartment, in my empty bed, staring at the water stain on the ceiling I'd memorized over the past 9 months. You must have the wrong number, I said. Those aren't my children. The nurse paused. I could hear the confusion in her silence. Sir, you're listed as her emergency contact. Simone Vance, date of birth, March 15th, 1989. My wife. My arranged wife. The woman who had looked me in the eyes 9 months ago and said the words that ended our marriage. I'm pregnant with twins. They're my bosses. He'll give us a better life than you ever could. Sir, are you still there? I'm here. There have been serious complications with the delivery. One of the babies. She paused. Sir, I think you need to come. The doctor needs to speak with you. It's urgent. Call Victor Ashford. He's the father. His number should be in her phone. We've tried, sir, multiple times. He's not answering. Of course he wasn't. Victor Ashford, CEO of Meridian Marketing, 49 years old, married, 3 homes, a yacht, and a wife who threw charity galas for children's hospitals. The man who had stolen my wife, with promises of a life I could never provide. And now, at 3:47 a.m., with his children being born and complications arising, he wasn't answering his phone. Sir, please, the doctor says it's critical. I should have said no. Should have hung up, rolled over, and gone back to the dreamless sleep that had become my only escape from this nightmare. But I couldn't. Not because I still loved Simone, though God helped me. Part of me did because there were 2 babies in that hospital who hadn't asked for any of this. 2 innocent lives who didn't deserve to suffer because the adults in their lives had made terrible choices. I'll be there in 20 minutes. The hospital corridors smelled like antiseptic and dread. I walked through the maternity ward at 4:23 a.m., still wearing the sweatpants and old t-shirt I'd slept in. Hadn't even stopped to change. Hadn't stopped to think. Just drove. The nurse's station was quiet. A woman in scrubs looked up as I approached. I'm Elliot Vance. Someone called about my wife, Simone. Recognition flickered in her eyes. The same recognition I'd seen for 9 months. The look people give you when they know your shame before you've spoken a word. Mr. Vance? Yes. Dr. Carver asked to speak with you. Room 412. But first, she stood. Follow me, please. She led me down a side hallway, away from the main ward, to a small consultation room with soft lighting and tissue boxes on every surface. A room for bad news. Dr. Naomi Carver was waiting inside. Mid-40s, silver streaks in her dark hair. The kind of calm expression that doctors wear when they're about to destroy your world. Mr. Vance, thank you for coming. Please, sit down. I sat. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else. Is Simone okay? Your wife is stable. The delivery was difficult. Emergency C-section, but she's recovering. She's sedated now. And the babies? Dr. Carver's expression shifted. That careful, practiced mask slipping just enough to show the human underneath. Mr. Vance, I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen carefully. Can you do that? I nodded. There were 2 babies, twins, a boy and a girl. Where she took a breath. The boy didn't survive. There were complications during delivery. The umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. We did everything we could, but she paused. I'm so sorry. I felt something, a distant pang, a shadow of grief for a child I'd been told wasn't mine. A child I'd spent 9 months trying not to think about, trying not to picture, trying not to love. The girl, she's alive, but there's a problem. Dr. Carver leaned forward. She has a rare blood condition. It's treatable, but she needs an immediate transfusion. A specific type of transfusion that requires a genetic match. Then use the parents. Simone, or I couldn't say his name, the father. We tested your wife. She's not compatible. We also reached out to the man your wife indicated as the biological father, Victor Ashford, and he finally answered our call about 30 minutes ago. We explained the situation, asked him to come in for testing. Dr. Carver's jaw tightened. He refused. He refused? He said, and I quote, "Those aren't my children. I don't know what she told you, but I'm not the father. Don't call me again." The room tilted. I gripped the armrest of my chair. That doesn't make sense, she said. Mr. Vance, I need to ask you something, and I need an honest answer. Is there any possibility at all, that you could be the biological father of these children? I almost laughed. The bitter, broken laugh of a man who had heard this question 1,000 times in his own head. No, I'm infertile. I was tested in 2019. The doctor said my chances of fathering children were less than 2%. Less than 2% isn't 0%. I haven't been intimate with my wife since I stopped counting backward. January. Early January. Right before she told me about the affair. That would be approximately 10 months ago, consistent with a full-term twin pregnancy. But she said the babies were Victor's. She said, Mr. Vance. Dr. Carver held up a hand. With your permission, I'd like to run a quick blood test. If there's even a small chance you could be a genetic match for the transfusion, we need to explore it. A baby's life is at stake. I stared at her. My mind was spinning, grasping at fragments of memory, trying to make sense of something that refused to make sense. Fine. Test me. They drew my blood at 4:41 a.m. At 5:15 a.m., Dr. Carver found me in the waiting room and asked me to follow her back to the consultation room. Her face was different now. The careful mask was gone, replaced by something I couldn't read. Confusion, maybe, or wonder. Mr. Vance, I have the results of your blood test. Am I a match? You are. Relief. A small measure of relief for a baby I'd been told wasn't mine. Good. Use my blood, whatever she needs. Mr. Vance, there's more. Dr. Carver sat down across from me. The blood test didn't just confirm compatibility, it confirmed something else. What? You're not just a genetic match for the transfusion. You're a genetic match. Because she paused, met my eyes. Elliot, you're the biological father. The world stopped. That's impossible. It's not. The DNA markers are unmistakable. You are the biological father of both twins, the girl who survived and the boy who didn't. But I'm infertile. The test said you had a less than 2% chance. That's not zero. And sometimes, rarely, but sometimes, those odds beat expectations. She leaned forward. Mr. Vance, I don't know why your wife told you these babies weren't yours. I don't know what happened in your marriage, but I can tell you with medical certainty that those children share your DNA. I couldn't breathe. 9 months. 9 months of agony, of sleeping alone in a studio apartment, of waking up every morning to the memory of my wife's words. They are my bosses. He'll give us a better life than you ever could. 9 months of believing I was broken, worthless. A man who couldn't give his wife the one thing she wanted. And none of it was true. The babies were mine. They had always been mine. Mr. Vance, Elliot, are you okay? I wasn't okay. I was the furthest thing from okay that a human being could be. But somewhere in the hospital, in the NICU, a baby girl, my baby girl, was fighting for her life. Take my blood, I said. Take whatever she needs. Let me tell you about the 9 months I spent dying inside. My name is Elliot Vance. I was born in 1986 in Portland, Oregon. Only child of Frank and Ruth Vance. My father was a postal worker. My mother was an elementary school teacher. We weren't rich, but we were happy. They showed me what a good marriage looked like. 37 years together before my father passed in 2021. I became an accountant. Not glamorous, but steady. I like the order of numbers, the way they always added up if you were careful enough. I liked knowing that there was a right answer to every problem, even if it took time to find it. I met Simone Hartley in 2014 at a friend's birthday party. She was 25, working as a marketing coordinator, dreaming of bigger things. She had this energy about her, this magnetic confidence that made everyone in the room want to be near her. I fell hard. We all do when we're young and stupid and can't tell the difference between charisma and character. We married in 2016. I was 30. She was 27. Nice ceremony at a vineyard outside Portland. Her parents didn't approve of me. I wasn't ambitious enough, wasn't wealthy enough, wasn't enough. But Simone insisted. She said she loved me for who I was, not what I could give her. I believed her. For the first 2 years, we were happy. We bought a small house in a decent neighborhood. We talked about the future, kids mostly. We both wanted them. 2 or 3, house full of noise and laughter and love. In 2018, after a year of trying with no success, we went to a fertility specialist. The news hit me like a truck. Mr. Vance, your sperm count is severely low. Combined with motility issues, your chances of natural conception are less than 2%. There are options: IVF, donor sperm, but I want you to understand the reality. The reality. The reality was that I was broken, less than a man, unable to give my wife the one thing she wanted most in the world. Simone said it was okay, said we could explore other options, said she loved me no matter what. But something changed after that diagnosis. She started working later, spending more time at the gym, taking more interest in her appearance. New clothes, new hairstyles, new attention to makeup she'd never bothered with before. In 2020, she got a new job at Meridian Marketing. Better salary, better title, better future. Her boss was Victor Ashford, the CEO. She talked about him constantly, how smart he was, how successful, how he was going to help her career. I was happy for her, proud of her. I didn't see what was happening right in front of my face. February 14th, 2024, Valentine's Day. I came home from work with flowers and a reservation at her favorite restaurant. I'd been planning it for weeks. A romantic evening. Chance to reconnect after months of feeling distant. Simone was sitting on the couch when I walked in. She wasn't dressed for dinner. She was wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, her hair pulled back, no makeup. "We need to talk," she said. Those 4 words. The 4 words that end marriages. I sat down, put the flowers on the coffee table between us. "I'm pregnant," she said. "Twins." For one beautiful, impossible moment, I felt joy. Pure, overwhelming joy. After years of being told it couldn't happen, after accepting that I would never be a father. "They're not yours." The joy died. "What?" "I've been seeing someone for almost a year." "I'm sorry, Elliot. I didn't mean for it to happen." But she took a breath. "It's Victor. We're in love, and he can give me the life you never could." I couldn't speak, couldn't move, couldn't process what I was hearing. "He's leaving his wife. We're going to be together. He has houses, Elliot. Multiple houses. A yacht. He knows people, opens doors. He can give these babies everything. Private schools, trust funds, opportunities you and I could never dream of." "You're leaving me?" "Yes." She said it simply, factually, like she was discussing the weather. "I know this is hard, but I've thought about it, and it's the right decision for me. For the babies. For everyone." "For everyone?" "Elliot, be realistic. You couldn't give me children. You can barely give me a decent vacation. Victor can give me the world." I should have screamed, should have thrown things, demanded answers, fought for my marriage, but I didn't. I just nodded. "Okay." That's all I said. One word, the only word I had left. "Okay." She seemed surprised, like she'd expected a fight. "If that's what you want." My voice was hollow, empty. "I'll move out this weekend." "Elliot, I hope he makes you happy, Simone. I really do." I stood up, picked up the flowers, walked to the kitchen, and threw them in the trash. Then I went to the bedroom, packed a bag, and left. 9 months. That's how long I spent in that studio apartment above a dry cleaner, listening to the hum of industrial pressing machines and wondering where my life had gone wrong. I didn't fight the divorce, didn't contest anything. She wanted the house? Fine. The savings? Take it. The life we'd built together? All hers. I had nothing left to fight for. My mother called every week begging me to snap out of it. My friends staged interventions that I politely declined. My therapist used words like depression and grief and need to process. I didn't want to process. I wanted to disappear. Every few weeks, I'd see something on social media. A photo of Simone at a fancy restaurant. A post about new beginnings. A comment from someone congratulating her on the pregnancy. She was living her best life with her billionaire boyfriend, while I was eating ramen noodles and watching the ceiling fan spin. I thought about the babies sometimes. Couldn't help it. 2 little lives growing inside the woman I'd loved for 8 years. 2 children who would grow up calling another man Dad. I tried to tell myself it was better this way, that Victor could give them things I never could, that I was doing the noble thing by stepping aside. But late at night, in that empty apartment, the truth would creep in. I wasn't being noble. I was being a coward. I was giving up on my marriage, on my future, on myself. Because a doctor had told me I was broken, and I believed him. Less than 2% isn't 0%. But I didn't know that then. I didn't know anything. The transfusion took 3 hours. I sat in a chair next to the NICU, a needle in my arm, watching my blood flow through a tube toward a machine that would clean it, filter it, and send it to my daughter. My daughter. I still couldn't say the words out loud. Couldn't wrap my mind around the reality that the baby in that incubator, tiny, fragile, fighting for. Every breath was mine. She had my nose. Even through the glass, even with all the tubes and wires, I could see it. The same slightly crooked nose I'd inherited from my father. My father who would never meet his granddaughter. My son who would never meet anyone. Mr. Vance. A nurse appeared at my side, young, kind-faced, with tired eyes that had seen too many nights like this one. Your wife is awake. She's asking for you. I almost laughed. Not for Victor. The nurse's expression flickered. She'd heard the story. Everyone had heard the story. She's asking for you, sir. I looked at the incubator, at my daughter, at the blood flowing from my body to hers. Tell her I'll be there when my daughter doesn't need me anymore. At 9:15 a.m., the transfusion was complete. The doctors said she was stable, that she would need monitoring, more treatments, a careful few weeks, but she was going to survive. My daughter was going to survive. At 9:30 a.m., I walked into Simone's room. She was propped up in the hospital bed, pale and exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. The confident, magnetic woman who had walked out of my life 9 months ago was gone. In her place was someone I barely recognized. Elliot. I stood at the foot of the bed, didn't sit, didn't come closer. Simone, thank you for coming. I know you didn't have to. I didn't come for you. She flinched. I know the baby is she. She's stable, for now. Tears welled in her eyes. And the boy? They told me he didn't. She couldn't finish. He died during delivery. They said there was nothing they could do. Simone broke. Full heaving sobs that shook her entire body. I watched her cry and felt nothing. A vast, empty nothing where my compassion used to be. Elliot, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry for what exactly? For the affair? For lying to me? For telling me those babies weren't mine when they were mine all along? She looked up. Her tear-streaked face showed genuine confusion. What? The DNA test, Simone. The one they ran when the baby needed a transfusion. The one that proved beyond any doubt that I'm the biological father. The color drained from her face. That's not possible. Less than 2% isn't 0%. Remember that. Next time you tell a man he's worthless because of what a doctor said. Elliot, Victor and I. Victor. Yes, let's talk about Victor. I stepped closer. The man who is supposed to give you a better life. The man whose children you were carrying. Where is he, Simone? Where's Victor? She didn't answer. I'll tell you where he is. He's at home with his wife, pretending none of this ever happened. Because when the hospital called him and said the baby needed help, do you know what he said? Simone shook her head. He said, "Those aren't my children. Don't call me again." He wouldn't say that. He loves me. He promised he used, Simone. Whatever he promised, whatever he told you, it was all lies. I should have felt satisfaction, some small victory in watching her world collapse the way mine had collapsed 9 months ago. But I didn't. I just felt tired. I'm going to ask you one question, I said, and I need you to tell me the truth. For once in your life, tell me the truth. She nodded, wiped her eyes. Why? Why did you tell me the babies weren't mine? Why did you destroy our marriage over a lie? Simone was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. Because he paid me. The truth came out in pieces. Victor Ashford was infertile. Completely, irreversibly infertile. A vasectomy in his 30s that he'd never told his wife about, followed by complications that made reversal impossible. His wife, Patricia, had been pressuring him for years to have children. She wanted a family. She wanted a legacy. And Victor, terrified of losing his marriage and half his fortune in a divorce, had been desperately searching for a solution. That's when Simone got pregnant. I didn't even know I was pregnant at first, she said, staring at the hospital blanket. When I found out, I was scared. I thought you would be happy. I thought maybe the doctors were wrong. So why didn't you tell me? Because Victor found out first. I don't know how. Maybe he saw the test in my purse, or overheard me on the phone with my doctor. But he came to me with an offer. An offer. $200,000 cash. If I told you the babies were his if I left you, and let him claim them as his own. If I helped him convince his wife that he could still father children. She laughed bitterly. He was going to present them to Patricia as a miracle, a sign that their marriage was meant to be. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. A man had paid my wife to steal my children. And you agreed? I agreed. She finally met my eyes. I'm not going to make excuses. Elliot, I was tired of struggling, tired of worrying about money. Victor offered me a way out, a house, a lifestyle, security for me and the babies. All I had to do was lie. Lie to your husband. Tell him he was worthless. Destroy his entire life. I didn't think you'd care that much. The words hit me like a physical blow. You didn't think I'd care? You'd already given up on us. After the infertility diagnosis, you changed, became distant, started working late, avoiding me. I thought you'd be relieved to be free of a wife who wanted things you couldn't give her. I was trying to accept it. I was trying to grieve. Well, I couldn't wait for you to finish grieving. Victor was offering me everything, and I took it. I stepped back. My hands were shaking. What was the plan? After the babies were born, Simone hesitated. Simone, I was supposed to give them to him, sign over custody. He'd pay me, and I'd disappear, move to Europe, start fresh. You were going to sell our children. They were supposed to be his children by then. That was the whole point of the lie. She started crying again. But I couldn't do it, Elliot. The closer I got to my due date, the more I realized I couldn't give them up. I started making excuses, delaying, trying to find another way. Is that why he didn't answer the hospital's calls? Because you backed out of the deal. He's furious with me. He said if I didn't follow through, he'd destroy me. Tell everyone the truth, ruin my reputation, make sure I never worked again. She gripped the blanket with both hands. I didn't know what to do. I was trapped. I looked at this woman, this stranger who had once been my wife, and I felt something I hadn't expected. Pity. Not forgiveness, not love, but pity for a person so desperate for money and status that she'd been willing to sacrifice everything real. Our son is dead, I said quietly. Because of stress, complications, things that might have been caught earlier. If you'd had proper prenatal care instead of hiding your pregnancy from the real father. Simone sobbed. Our daughter is alive because I happen to be a genetic match, because you never changed your emergency contact, because some small part of you maybe remembered who actually loved you. Elliot, please. I'm going to fight for custody. I'm going to take our daughter, and I'm going to raise her, and she's never going to know about any of this until she's old enough to understand. And you. I paused. You're going to live with what you've done. I turned and walked out of the room. Behind me, I heard her crying. I didn't look back. The investigation was swift and brutal. Victor Ashford's scheme unraveled within weeks. Patricia Ashford, upon learning the truth about her husband's infertility and his attempt to purchase children, filed for divorce immediately. The prenup she'd signed was rendered void by his fraud, and she walked away with 60% of his assets. Victor was also charged with conspiracy to commit adoption fraud, though the charges were eventually pleaded down to a misdemeanor. His real punishment came from the business world. Partners withdrew, clients fled, and Meridian marketing stock dropped 40% in 3 months. The last I heard, he was selling the yacht. Simone faced her own consequences. She was fired from Meridian before Victor's scandal even broke. Apparently, he'd made good on his threat to destroy her. She was also investigated for conspiracy, though the prosecutors ultimately declined to charge her, citing her cooperation and the fact that she had backed out of the deal before the birth. The divorce was finalized in February 2025. I got full custody of our daughter, whom I named Hope because that's what she represented. Simone got supervised visitation twice a month in a court-approved facility. She shows up most of the time, brings toys and books, cries when she has to leave. Part of me wants to hate her forever. Part of me remembers the woman I married. Ambitious but kind, dreaming of a life she thought I couldn't give her. I don't hate her anymore. I just don't love her. 2 years have passed since that night at the hospital. I'm 40 now, still working as an accountant, though I got a promotion last year. Senior financial analyst with a real office and a door that closes. I make $82,000 a year, which isn't yacht money, but it's enough. More than enough. Hope is 2 years old. She has her mother's dark hair and my crooked nose. She's learning to talk, mostly da and no and more, the essential vocabulary of a toddler. She loves applesauce, hates broccoli, and goes absolutely crazy for the songs on this one kids show about a cartoon dog. I watch that show 3 times a day. I don't mind. My mother moved to Portland last year to help with childcare. 68 years old and still sharper than I'll ever be. She says Hope reminds her of my father. Something about the way she laughs, the way she looks at the world like it's full of wonders. I believe her. There's a cemetery on the east side of town. Small, quiet, surrounded by oak trees that turn golden in the fall. I go there once a month, sometimes more. My son is buried there. I named him Oliver after my father. The birth certificate was complicated. Legally, I had to prove paternity before I could claim him, and by then he was already gone. But the funeral home understood. They let me hold him once, briefly, before they took him away. He looked like me too. Same crooked nose, same tiny fingers. Hope has a twin brother she'll never know. A brother who died before he could take his first breath, because his mother's lies had created a situation too complicated for proper medical care. I don't know how I'll explain it to her someday. Don't know how you tell a child that she had a brother, that he didn't survive, that the circumstances were too ugly for fairy tales. But I'll figure it out. Parents always do. I visit Oliver's grave every Sunday. Hope comes with me now, though she doesn't understand. She just knows that Sunday means a drive to the pretty place with the big trees, and Daddy gets quiet for a while, and then we go get ice cream. Rituals matter. That's what my therapist says. Rituals help us process grief, honor what we've lost, and find a way forward. Last Sunday, Hope toddled over to the headstone. Just a small marker, gray granite with Oliver's name and a single date, and patted it with her tiny hand. "Da, that's your brother," I said. "His name is Oliver." "Or Oliver, he's watching over you from somewhere far away." She looked at the stone, then at me, then back at the stone. "Bye-bye, Over," she waved. That innocent wave toddlers do with the whole arm, full of enthusiasm for a world she doesn't yet understand. I cried. Not sad tears. Well, some sad tears, but mostly something else, something gratitude. Maybe for the daughter I have, for the son I got to hold, even briefly. For a life that didn't go the way I planned, but somehow ended up exactly where I needed to be. I got a letter from Victor Ashford 3 months ago, handwritten, 5 pages. An apology, sort of. He said he was sorry for the way things unfolded, for any pain that resulted from my decisions, for the unfortunate circumstances that led to your son's passing. Unfortunate circumstances like my son's death was a weather event, something that just happened without cause or blame. I burned the letter. Some apologies aren't worth accepting. I think about that phone call sometimes. 3:47 a.m., unknown number. The call. I almost didn't answer. If I had declined, if I had rolled over and gone back to sleep, my daughter might have died. The hospital would have kept trying to reach Victor, would have eventually found another solution, but maybe not in time. Maybe the delay would have been too long. Maybe I would have learned the truth about my children only after it was too late to save either of them. One phone call, one decision, one moment where I chose to show up, even when I thought I had nothing to show up for. That's what fatherhood is. I've learned it's not about being perfect or wealthy or having all the answers. It's about showing up again and again. Even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when you don't think you have anything left to give, you show up. And sometimes when you least expect it, you discover that everything you thought you'd lost was waiting for you all along. Hope is sleeping now. I'm sitting in the living room of our small apartment, watching the sunset through the window, thinking about everything that's happened. My wife betrayed me. My son died. My life fell apart. And yet I'm happier now than I was before any of it happened. Not because of the tragedy, never because of that, but because of what came after. I have a daughter who loves me unconditionally. A mother who flew across the country to help me raise her. A career that pays the bills and leaves time for bedtime stories. A life that isn't fancy or impressive, but is mine. Fully, completely mine. Simone wanted more. Victor wanted more. They schemed and lied and manipulated because they thought more was the answer. More money, more status, more of everything the world told them they deserved. But more isn't the answer. Enough is the answer. Having enough, being enough, giving enough. I am enough. It took me 38 years and more pain than I thought I could survive to learn that lesson. But I learned it. And I'll spend the rest of my life teaching it to Hope. Thank you for listening. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. A man who's been told he's not enough. A woman facing betrayal from someone she trusted. Anyone who's ever stood at a crossroads, wondering whether to answer the phone. Answer the phone. Show up. You never know what's waiting for you on the other side. I thought my life was over that night. I thought there was nothing left for me. No children, no marriage, no future. I was wrong. dead wrong. And for the first time in years, I'm grateful to be wrong. It's Sunday morning now. Hope is awake, calling for me from her crib. Da-da-da-da. Time to get up, make breakfast, go visit Oliver. Then ice cream. That's our ritual, our life. It's not much, but it's everything.